In front of me, I have 8 different lenses that I use for photo and for video, and the truth is, I don't need all of these. The only reason why I have them is because I've accumulated more and more gear over the years of shooting. But if I had to get rid of them all and only choose one to bring with me for the rest of time or to shoot with, it would be this one. So this is a Sigma 24-70 f2.8. I've talked about this lens in previous videos, but seriously, if I was in a situation where I could only bring one lens with me out of all the other ones that I have, let's say I was going on vacation and I wanted to travel light, or if I was just in the market to buy a lens that could do it all, this would seriously be the one, and for many reasons. Now there's many videos online talking about this lens, so I'm not gonna get into the specs and the details about this lens. I'm just gonna talk about why I like it and why I would choose this lens if I could only choose one. This is hands down the most versatile lens in my kit, and that's because the 24-70 covers 3 different focal length categories. At 24mm, its widest focal length, you're in that wide category. Once you zoom into about 40-50mm, you're in that standard category, and once you get to 70, you're in that telephoto range. Now, as a portrait photographer, the reason why I love this lens so much is because it covers the majority of common focal lengths for portrait photography. So you have 24mm, you have 35mm, you have 50mm, and you don't quite have 85mm, but you have 70mm, which honestly is not that big of a difference from 85mm. Because of this range and versatility, it means you can use this lens to shoot real estate, you can use it to shoot portraits, you can shoot weddings, you can shoot events, you can almost use this lens for anything you want. I actually just shot a wedding with this lens a couple weeks ago, and sure, there were some situations where I wish this lens was a little wider or a little longer, just so that I don't have to keep swapping out lenses, but those were very odd or very few times. The majority of the wedding, the ceremony, all of that, I had this on my camera basically the entire time. What's even crazier is because I'm shooting on a full frame camera, I can throw it into APS-C crop mode, which basically makes this 70mm a 105mm when shooting in that mode. So when I was shooting this wedding and I wanted a little bit more range, I would zoom into 70mm, crop in using the APS-C crop, and now basically this lens becomes a 24mm to 105mm f2.8. This lens is so versatile that when I was switching over from Canon to Sony, I didn't want to spend all of this money rebuying all of the lenses that I had with my Canon. So I was looking for one lens that can basically do it all, still allow me to shoot portraits, landscapes, but also create my videos and continue creating content. So I bought the 24-70 f2.8, and honestly, this lens has allowed me to do everything. The images that come out of this lens always seem to blow me away. Most people would think that because it's a zoom lens, it's not the highest quality. It's not gonna be as sharp as a prime lens, but I would argue the opposite. This lens is extremely sharp and honestly on par to my other prime lenses back there. And this is because it's part of Sigma's flagship art line. As a portrait photographer and someone who skin retouches, who needs a high quality sharp image to be able to skin retouch properly, I'm extremely satisfied with the sharpness that comes out of this lens. Like I said, the sharpness is on par to some of the primes that I have back there. The only thing that I have noticed with this lens is that the corners are a tiny bit soft. Not crazy soft, but just a tiny little bit. You really don't notice it unless you're pixel peeping, and that's most likely because it is a zoom lens. Now, most people would think that its widest aperture f2.8 is not going to give you that nice bokeh that you would want, and that is true in the wider focal lengths if you're shooting at 24mm, 35mm. Obviously, a 35mm 1.4 is going to be better than this lens at 35mm f2.8 in terms of bokeh and nice background blur. However, when you are zoomed in to 70mm, even at f2.8, you get some crazy compression because you are zoomed in that honestly makes it look like you're shooting with an 85mm f1.2. I also like that this Sigma 24-70 is fully weather sealed and it's built to last for years. Honestly, I've dinged this up so many times. I've dropped my camera with this on it and nothing has happened to it. It's still in like mint condition. The focus and zoom rings are smooth. The autofocus is quick and snappy. It doesn't hunt for autofocus. It has a really short minimum focusing distance at only 7 inches. So if you're taking product photography or you're shooting videos or vlogging with it, you only have to be 7 inches away for it to be able to focus properly. The 24-70 is definitely that one lens that I would rock if I could only choose one. And to think that you get all of this for only $1,100. Now, yes, that does seem a little pricey, but if you compare this to Sony's G Master version that goes for $2,300, that's more than double the price of this lens. And honestly, you don't get anything different. Now, that doesn't mean this lens is perfect. Like I said, it does have a tiny bit of softness in the corners of your image. And if you are looking for a lens that has image stabilization, this lens is not it. This one doesn't have image stabilization. So those are some of the reasons why I love this lens and why I chose to rock this lens for an entire year. This lens comes with me everywhere because I never know when I need all of these different focal lengths and the versatility that this lens provides. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click that like button. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.